Donald Trump's presidency is collapsing in real time. I think we all know that. I don't think there's anybody in politics that's reasonable, that's sensible, that will disagree with that.
So Harry J. Sisson just dropped a comprehensive breakdown of Trump's approval collapse, and is backed by hard data. We're talking about a focus group where 75% of Trump voters now regret their choice, plus his vanity passport project that perfectly captures misplaced priorities. Let's break this down.
And we're learning about more and more Trump voters who are turning on him or straight up saying they wish they never voted for Donald Trump in the first place. Matter of fact, Trump is going to hate the report I'm going to show you in just a moment. It just came out, and this data is devastating for Donald Trump and the people around him.
The data confirms this trend. Yale's latest polling shows Trump hemorrhaging support among young voters, dropping 18 points since taking office. Even more telling, independent voters who backed him are fleeing in record numbers as his authoritarian tendencies become undeniable.
The economy sucks, war in Iran, the cover-up of the Epstein files, but also he's not focused on anybody's priorities. He's focused on his ballroom or his pet projects, and we just learned more about those pet projects today.
Exactly right about misplaced priorities. While Iran launched attacks in February and DHS faced a shutdown crisis, Trump was literally redesigning government documents with his face. The contrast between real national security threats and vanity projects couldn't be starker.
It is absurd, and the narcissism of Donald Trump has truly reached new heights. We're learning from a variety of different sources that the State Department is unveiling a limited edition passport redesign for the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. And this new passport design features images of Donald Trump, the Declaration of Independence, the Founding Fathers, and Donald Trump's signature.
This is unprecedented in American history. No president has ever put their face on official government documents like this. Stalin did it. Mao did it. Kim Jong-un does it today. It's textbook authoritarian image cultivation that directly contradicts democratic norms.
They are focused on this. They are spending taxpayer dollars on this instead of fixing the economy or ending wars around the world.
The economic numbers validate this outrage. Housing costs up 23%, groceries up 31% since he took office. Yet taxpayers are funding passport makeovers. His approval rating crashed to 31% precisely because voters see through these misplaced priorities.
You have the Declaration of Independence, then you have Donald Trump's ugly mug plastered all over it, his signature right down there across the passport. It's saying United States of America. And of course, Donald Trump loves putting his face on things. His face is all over Washington, D.C. I'm sure if you've been there in the past year or so, you've probably seen his name on a building, his face on a building. His face is still on the Department of Justice. His name is still on the Kennedy Center. He just loves putting it everywhere, like any dictator in history has done as well.
The historical parallel is chilling. Mussolini plastered his image across Italian government buildings. Hitler's face appeared on German currency. This image saturation isn't vanity, it's deliberate psychological conditioning to normalize authoritarian rule through omnipresent leader worship.
Because apparently, according to Donald Trump, having your face on a passport is priority number one. There's nothing more important than plastering your face everywhere at any opportunity you get. And
the timing exposes everything. While DHS shut down in February over funding disputes and Iran tensions escalated, Trump's team prioritized passport redesigns. It's Marie Antoinette level detachment from real problems affecting Americans daily.
Instead of having Donald Trump's face on the passport, why don't we include a photo of him and his best friend? This was uploaded by Governor Gavin Newsom on social media. I think this is far more fitting, a far better representation of Donald Trump and what he's done to this country than just putting his face and his signature right on the passport. I love this redesign from Gavin Newsom. Shout out to him for continuing to annoy the hell out of Donald Trump and his administration.
Newsom's digital strategy here is brilliant. Democrats are finally matching Republican social media sophistication, and it's working. Internal polling shows Newsom gaining serious traction for 2028 by consistently needling Trump's authoritarian overreach with viral content like this.
If our founding fathers were alive today, the last thing they'd want is a president putting their face on everything for the 250th anniversary. The last thing they'd want is Donald Trump in office. Everything they spoke against, wrote against, is the embodiment of Donald Trump.
The founders explicitly rejected monarchy and personality cults. Washington refused to become king, established term limits, warned against faction worship. Everything Trump represents, the image obsession, loyalty demands, power concentration, violates their foundational vision.
If I see somebody walking around with a Trump passport, I'm automatically assuming that you are a total loser. Just putting it out there. The special edition passport will be the default out of the Washington Passport Agency while it is available, according to a State Department official, while online options or other locations will maintain the existing passport design. Thank God.
Notice the strategic manipulation here. Making Trump passports the default at Washington's agency forces his image on unsuspecting citizens while offering alternatives elsewhere. It's calculated exposure designed to normalize his face on government documents.
Rangers said they were ordered to throw out all of the hard passes because they didn't have Trump's photo on them yet. Had to buy online, and Rangers printed a temporary pass. This came in the mail a month later with Donald Trump's face on it. And next to George Washington, as if him and George Washington are at all comparable. But this is what Donald Trump has done.
The comparison to Washington is historically obscene. Washington voluntarily gave up power when he could have been king for life. Trump literally tried overthrowing election results to stay in power. One built democracy, the other attacks it.
And the final story I quickly want to mention to you about Donald Trump just doing nothing that the American people care about, things that he only cares about, is James Comey, the former FBI director, today has been indicted. And you might be asking, for what? What crime did he commit? Well, according to the Trump Department of Justice, the crime he committed was posting this on Instagram.
Using DOJ to prosecute political enemies over Instagram posts crosses every Democratic red line. This isn't law enforcement, it's intimidation. Authoritarian regimes always weaponize justice systems against dissent while claiming they're protecting public safety.
Caption is, cool shell formation on my beach walk. Innocent stuff. And the shells are 8647. 86 meaning dismiss or get rid of, 47 meaning Donald Trump. And the Trump administration is trying to argue that this is a threat to take Trump's life. That's really what they're arguing in court right now.
The First Amendment protects coded political speech, even provocative criticism. Courts have repeatedly upheld citizens' rights to express opposition through creative means. This prosecution is pure intimidation designed to chill dissent through selective enforcement.
How is this lowering gas prices? How is this lowering housing prices? How is this making the economy better? How is targeting the First Amendment, a very obvious example of freedom of speech, how is this making anybody's life better?
The focus group data proves even Trump supporters can't defend this authoritarian drift. When your own voters start using words like dictator and horror movie, you've lost the basic legitimacy needed to govern effectively.
That if he gets hold of it, he might put a whole Bible verse out on Truth Social worth of writing. You know, he just constantly rants. And it is a focus group of Trump voters has delivered a savage verdict on his second term, with one branding it a horror movie, and 9 of 12 saying they regret backing him.
75% regret rate among his own voters is historically unprecedented. Even Nixon's approval among Republicans never collapsed this dramatically during Watergate. This suggests fundamental buyer's remorse that typically predicts massive electoral losses.
The results, which landed on Monday, come as Donald Trump's approval ratings have collapsed to the worst point of either of his terms amid the unpopular war in Iran, surging prices, and the never-ending Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
The Iran war factor is crucial here. Americans overwhelmingly oppose new Middle East interventions after decades of failed conflicts. The February attacks were preventable through diplomacy, but Trump chose escalation over negotiation, alienating war-weary voters.
Asked to grade Donald Trump's second term, not a single participant gave him an A or a B. One handed out a C, 8 gave him a D, and 3 flunked him with an F. These are people that voted for Donald Trump around a year ago.
0 A's or B's from his own voters is statistically stunning. Even during Watergate, Nixon retained some strong support among Republicans. This suggests complete collapse of confidence that historically precedes landslide defeats.
Quote, it turned out to be a horror movie. I was so wrong with the vote for him, said Jose, 62, a Latino employment specialist from Florida, who told moderators he no longer watches the news because it leaves him depressed. Tell me about it.
Jose's depression reflects broader American trauma. Political scientists document rising anxiety, relationship stress, and news avoidance during authoritarian periods. When citizens stop engaging because reality feels unbearable, democracy itself suffers profound damage.
His 17-year-old daughter, Jose, said regularly asks him, "Why did you vote for him, Dad? That breaks my heart every time she does that," he said.
His daughter's question cuts deep because young voters see through Trump's lies more clearly. Yale polling shows 18 to 29-year-olds rejecting Trump by 40-point margins. They're inheriting the consequences of his failures.
Several participants saved their fiercest criticism for Trump's immigration crackdown, the policy that has come to define his second term. Ala, 51, a white Republican portfolio manager from Alabama, said she had backed the president's pledge to fix immigration, but quickly recoiled at the execution.
Alabama Republicans turning against immigration crackdowns signals massive political realignment. When conservative voters in deep red states recoil at policy execution, it indicates Trump has overreached beyond even his base's tolerance.
Quote, "How ICE was treating people, this is not the way to do it." It's almost like we all warned that this would happen. It's almost like this is exactly what we predicted. It's almost like Donald Trump did something very similar in his first term with the family separation policy or the kids in cages.
Every expert warned this would happen. Immigration advocates, child psychologists, international law experts all predicted the cruelty we're witnessing. Trump voters are finally seeing what specialists knew all along. These policies are inherently inhumane.
Quote, "I looked dumb as hell, believing in fairy tales and wishy-washy promises." That is actually quite satisfying to hear. I will say, of all the quotes we've heard so far in this article about this focus group, that is a very satisfying quote to hear.
And that level of self-reflection shows democratic resilience. When voters acknowledge being deceived and change course, it demonstrates the system can still self-correct. This honesty creates space for healing and moving beyond Trump's divisive legacy.
Perhaps the most withering verdict came from Kitty, 36, I should say, an Asian independent student from Pennsylvania, who told the moderators of her vote, "It's like, now we have a dictator." Wow.
Independent voters using dictator language validates every democracy expert warning since 2016. When political moderates start describing presidents in authoritarian terms, it signals genuine threats to constitutional governance that transcend partisan politics.
Some very harsh criticisms from people who are not liberals, they're not Democrats, they're not on our side of the aisle. They voted for Donald Trump in 2024, and a year into his administration, they have a different tone. They're saying, not a fan, don't want this anymore, and they're turning on Donald Trump in real time, and that is a beautiful thing to see.
This voter exodus creates massive opportunities for 2026 midterms. Democratic digital operations are finally matching Republican sophistication, while Trump's authoritarian overreach repels suburban independents who decide elections. The political landscape is shifting dramatically.